upsetting TCU 45-42. Coach Prime was on Pat McAfee yesterday talking about his team's expectations for the season.
Like, the standard is the standard. I would be a fool to sit up there like, hey, man, I think winning 4 games is great. Please. Four games for us? Like, come on, man. We don't think like that. We ain't built like that. We don't talk or walk or act like that. We're here to be dominant. We're here to take over this thing and change the whole darn game and be unapologetic about it.
So Bart stays with us, and of course Heather and Paul have been with us all morning long. Outstanding. Sir Paul, what is the right thing to say? I think that, I'm not going to influence the jury. What's the right thing to say about the significance of what Deion and his team did on Saturday?
Greeny, at the moment, Coach Prime owns college football, and what I'm about to say sounds like hyperbole, but it's really not. He is the biggest name in college football today. That could change down the road, but he's bigger than Nick Saban. He's bigger than Kirby Smart. We're talking more about him than Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley, and that's what makes this story so incredible. He is transcending the sport, much like maybe Tiger Woods did golf, where people who hated golf, who didn't like golf, suddenly said, I'm watching it because of Tiger Woods. People are doing the same thing because of Deion Sanders. They're watching the Buffaloes.
I agree, and I will tell you, I'll take it a step farther. Deion, a lot of the attention is coming because he is such a star. I get that part of it. But I also think there's an element of this, Heather, that what we saw ushered in on Saturday from Deion Sanders in Colorado is college football 3.0. I think this is what the sport is now to become. Every team starts all over again every offseason, and you bring in as many free agents without a salary cap as you possibly can in the sport. And if you have the right dynamic leadership, the teams can make that kind of transformation, that level of immediately. And I think this is going to become the rule, not the exception, going forward. I think we will look back on this as the beginning of a new era of college football as we know it.
Well, I will counter that slightly, Greeny, with the fact that not only was this unprecedented in terms of transfer portal turnover on that roster, but I would say you can't do that, Greeny, without a coach like Deion Sanders. This is a credit to his coaching ability. You don't transform a locker room like that without having a head man who could put it all together chemistry-wise, execution-wise, all of those intangible things, and transform it onto the field. Brian Kelly hasn't done it yet. Brian Kelly at LSU has used the transfer portal. Okay, Mike Norvell at Florida State has used the transfer portal, and it's working for him a few years down the road right now. We're seeing the results of some of those things, right? So you watch football, all these guys' names being called, played at other schools. But Deion did it in a matter of months because of who he is. So yes, you're going to see this NFL draft type movement in free agency, all kinds of things in college football moving forward, but you can't do it without a head coach as capable as Deion Sanders.
I agree with that part of it, but what I think actually then happens is people start asking, well, he did it, why can't we? Yeah. I think there's a whole different level of pressure on some of these coaches now in the sport. Well, Deion turned the whole thing around in 1 year. Don't tell me you need 4 years of all of this. You played with Deion Sanders. Yes. Talk to me about this.
Deion is one of one. He's the only man, the only coach that can do this, right? Because Deion is a guy who breathes life and confidence into players. You know, there's no other coach that's going to coach at HBCU and be able to get the #1 player in all of football. Deion Sanders is the last person you want talking to your players, right? Because, listen, he's so charismatic and he breathes life. But let's not forget, he is a old school coach with zero tolerance for guys not, living up to their potential. And he's a guy that, will have great teachers around. This is what you forget. His coaching staff has tremendous teachers, right? And he teaches the game. He teaches the why, not the what. He teaches the why, and that's what I saw. I saw a team that was smart, poised, and executed at a high level because the standard is the standard.
Yeah, and I saw Booger and Dan were making the point Saturday night when they were talking about it. They only had 6 penalties.
It's going to be an opportunity for our team to sort of, where are we as a team? Where are you as a player? You're going to play against a really good player, and that usually says, where am I as a player? And this is going to be a good barometer for us to find out, where are we as a team?
Paul is the coach on upset alert this week taking on Texas.
Absolutely, and you have to say that, Greeny, because of the circumstances. Alabama established a starting quarterback against Middle Tennessee, Jalen Milroe, but we don't know what he's going to be like against a legitimate team like Texas. And Texas has really outstanding players across the board. Sarkisian has gone to the portal. He's won in recruiting, and this is a major test for Nick Saban. So much is on the line. I'm not talking about legacy. I'm just talking about current status in the game.
I think that's fair. And so, again, I turn to you, Heather, because I will remind the audience, Heather knows more about the college football playoff than you know about anything. What are the implications for both Alabama and Texas in this game Saturday night?
Greeny, this is the kind of non-conference win that come selection day in December can separate either one of these two teams in the selection committee meeting room from another contender with a similar resume. Texas is a heavy favorite to win the Big 12. So if Alabama knocks off Texas and they can say at the end of the day, hey, we beat the Big 12 champs, that means that even if Alabama were to lose to Georgia in the SEC championship game, hypothetically, they can still make a great case in that selection committee meeting room for a top 4 team. And the opposite holds true, obviously, for Texas. Somehow, if they lose this game, they go on to win, they win this game and they lose a game in the Big 12 and they're a one-loss team and they say, hey, we beat the SEC champs or the SEC West champs, that resonates huge all year long.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.